So the first thing we did once we got into Mexico was go back to the US. Hey guys, Conrad here. Just wanted to take a few minutes to tell us about our experience crossing into Mexico with the camper. From our research, everybody was saying the trick is try to park as close to the border as you can, campground, and then first thing in the morning cross over before it gets busy with traffic. So that was the plan. That's what we did. So we stopped at a place called Potrero County Park. Sorry, it's right across from the Tecate border. So we were, maybe 10 minutes from the border. So we figured that's perfect. So first thing in the morning, we decided, well, time to go. So we packed everything up, headed to the border crossing in Tecate. As when we got there, there's nobody there, so we figured, it's perfect, no traffic at all, it'll go quick. And then as soon as we got in, they flagged us down, said, oh, you guys are too big, you can't cross here. So they, as the guy was telling us this, the tractor trailer went by and that was fine, but he told us that they have brokers for tractor trailers. So it's not a size issue, so I don't really know what the issue is, but they wouldn't let us go by. So we had to keep going. They said we can go to San Diego and cross in Tijuana, so that's what we did. The downside is our whole plan of crossing first thing in the morning was kind of out the window, because from Tecate to San Diego is about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So we drove all the way to San Diego, and we got to the border. Is a much bigger border, a little busier, but not very much, going towards Mexico. It was fairly clear sailing. So we got in, they flagged us over to the inspection lane, which we figured makes sense with the camper. And we had been told, make sure you have insurance, registration, everything lined up, ready to go, passports. So we did. When we got there, they wanted to inspect the camper, so I got out, opened up the doors. They had a look inside. We have a bunch of slides in the camper, so with the slides closed, you can't access most of it anyway. So they just kind of giggled when you open the door of this big camper and you don't actually have access to much. So the first guy stayed in there for 30 seconds, came back out. The second guy went in with the drug dog just to have a quick sniff, make sure everything was good. About 30 seconds, came back out, and then they flagged us through. Didn't ask for paperwork, passport, where we're going, how long we're staying, all the regular questions. None of that. So we figured, well, okay, it's just kind of inspection station, and then the actual border is going to be a little further ahead. So we kept going, but you end up on a one-way street, and you're in Mexico. That's it. That was the border crossing. There's nothing else, which normally would have been fine because it was a very easy experience. The problem was we need a tourist visa because we're in Mexico for a long period of time, and you can only get that at the border. So we were going to ask, when we got to the actual border where they asked for passports, where do we get that? But they never did, so we messed up. They never asked anything, so we were in Mexico without the paperwork, which is fine if you stay. There's a limit, I think it might be a week. So we drove a little bit because it's a one-way street. Finally got a chance to pull over, did some research. There's no way to get back to the border because it's a one-way street, especially with a rig this size. So basically our only option was turn around, go back to the US, and then go back into Mexico, which in theory is not the end of the world. The problem was, or the main issue for us, was the wait to get back into the US was about 3 hours. So on the Mexico side, they don't even ask a question, so people just fly by, it goes quick. Going back into the US, they check a lot more, so it took forever, just waiting in line. By the time we got back into the US, it was getting late afternoon, so the whole idea of cross as soon early in the morning, we didn't want to, just in case anything went wrong. And the suggestion is to not really stop in the border towns too much because they're a little rougher. You keep going, especially for camping, an hour or two inland. So we figured, well, okay, so we stayed in San Diego that night, and then the second morning we tried again. So for the third time trying to cross, basically one time in Tecate and then Tijuana and Tijuana again, it was the same experience. We showed up, the guy went in, checked the camper, drug dog went in, didn't ask for any paperwork or nothing. This time we knew, and we asked about the FMM, the tourist visa. They told us where to go. There's a little parking area just past the inspection station, so we pulled in there, and we're basically coming in through customs backwards, like walking inside the building. So we found the boot for the paperwork, got that all filled out, and then as we're walking back to the camper, it's there's a lot of walk-ins in going into Mexico. People just for work and whatever, they'll walk in instead of taking their car. You got buses and everything that you can take on the other side to get you to wherever you're going. So there's a little inspection station, same as the airports would have, to check your luggage. But this is mid-morning. There's nobody there. There was the one guy at the station for the paperwork, but there's nobody basically at customs. So we just kind of walked back in, which is a weird kind of experience. Go into Canada or the US, I mean, there's guards everywhere. It's very secure. Mexico, it's hard to get out of Mexico, but apparently it's very easy to get in. So once that was done, didn't have any more issues. Got the camper on that same one-way road, headed all the way down to Ensenada to make sure everything was nice and safe, and stayed there for a little bit. So if anybody is ever wondering to cross into Mexico, now your experience might be different than ours. Still make sure you have all your paperwork lined up, but really there's no big issue to cross into. It was very easy. So that's it. So if you like the video, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.